like 5 or something.
You're like 4:45.
Don't get here too early, chat. Welcome into the DNVR Avalanche pregame show, live from, this is still just the studio, I think. We haven't quite named it just yet. But J. Mike and Rudo coming to you. Avs back at home, taking on the Florida Panthers. The Panthers are technically the defending back-to-back champs, but they're also broken. So, not sure what to fully make of this one.
Yeah, I'm not sure this has quite the appeal that the schedule makers would have imagined, when they put this together. The reason this game's going to, drop at 8 p.m., but there's still the prestige of going up again. I mean, we know how hard it is to make it to the mountaintop in this sport, and to do it twice, regardless of what this team has been of late. They still have that cachet, if you will. They have the experience of just having been there. That's such a valuable asset.
It is. They're going to have to show it because, Florida, of course, has their issues this year, but that doesn't mean they're an easy out by any stretch of the imagination. They found ways to play effective hockey. The East is crazy, so they are on the outside looking in a little bit, but so far, par for the course this year has been the Avs getting every team's best shot, and you expect no different from Florida.
And I mean, they have won 3 straight, so it's not like they're coming in cold.
For what it's worth, Florida did play yesterday. So
love that.
Should be a bit of a tired game for Florida.
Back-to-back at altitude, too, coming from Utah.
Yeah, it's the double that happens all the time in basketball, or used to happen all the time in basketball. That's now starting to happen in hockey. Win rates are really, really good for the home teams on that stretch. The Avs really should have an advantage against Florida in that regard. Don't apologize for scheduling breaking your way. Go out and take care of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have your own challenges along the way. So give some, win some, lose some. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Give and take. I think I combined 2 sayings there.
Of course. The Avs has not had the kindest schedule of all time by any stretch of the imagination this year. So take that win and turn it into a real win, I suppose, is what I'm trying to say. But look, Colorado is in a stretch of ridiculous amounts of hockey. This will be their 6th game in 10 days, which isn't like crazy.
It's not nothing.
But this is also the first game back from a road trip, which is kind of that extra away game. I know you're at home, you slept in your own bed, but it's another city, another night. There is a little bit of that could play into this. We also don't know how unsick are the Avs. Nate just looked pretty darn sick the other night in their loss. There's probably still some of that lingering around the team, but really no excuses. The Avs are at home. They haven't been back to Ball Arena for over a week. Go out, go do the job.
If you want to keep pace in this incredibly difficult division, you have to win your home games. Yeah. And I know it's crazy to say that, given the fact that you're 10-0-2 at home right now, the amount of success you've had through this portion of the season. But like the breathing room isn't quite what you would hope, given how good they have been. It
feels like the Avs deserve a little bit more of a gap there. Last I checked, Dallas was winning 2 against Minnesota. It's 1-1 now in the second. That game, it's 2 Central Division teams, so destined to go to overtime, and they both get points. But you got to protect your lead a little bit here. And I think it is, you mentioned the 10-0-2 at home. Most of the Avs streaks have ended in one way or another, whether that be the no regulation losses thing or their winning streak or their point streak or whatever. You still have that little bit of something to play for at home ice where it's like, hey, don't lose here. Don't be a team there, or rather do be a team that teams don't want to go here. Not just, Florida had to go Utah to Colorado and that sucks, but everyone should look at their schedule and see, we go to Colorado. This might be a tough one.
This shouldn't be a place you ever go without a point, right?
Yep.
Weird stuff happens in overtime. shootouts are shootouts, and I'm really over the gimmick stuff. I'm not gonna lie. I've come to really hate shootouts, and it's totally me being a sore loser. Don't get me wrong. I love them growing up.
Another one coming to my side of this argument.
Deciding hockey without hockey is just frustrating to me. But I get why they do it. I don't need to do the 10-minute tangent on it. You need to come away with points at home, and especially given the fact that Florida is on the second night of the back-to-back, 2 games at altitude.
Yep.
While we will, always make our own little jokes, when everybody whines about the altitude, it is a factor. So take care of business. This is a very winnable game against a team who has won a couple straight, but this isn't the same Florida Panthers of these last couple years.
They're not even close right now. And, maybe they get to the playoffs and they get their guys back and they turn into a juggernaut. But right now, that's not what they are. They're very similar to what the Avs were at the start of last season, where that was a team just fighting to keep their head above water. The Avs should be better than a team than that this year, pretty definitively, I would say.
Are Panthers good swimmers in the wild? I think so.
I have no idea, to be honest.
I mean, there's Panthers in Florida, so you would assume they'd have some type
swim,
of... Yeah.
To some extent.
Let us know, chat.
It does feel like a lot of stuff is stacked against Florida here.
I mean, you're missing a couple of your top guys.
Yep. Your goaltending has sucked this year. You've not put together... Some of their underlyings are actually decent, but they're not the Florida Panthers you think of when you think of a Stanley Cup. And this is maybe more sucks for Florida fans than for Florida themselves, but East Coast, this puck drop is going to be at like 10 p.m., which... they're professional athletes, right? They know how to take care of themselves, and an hour difference, 2 hours difference probably doesn't make that much of a difference. But this game, if they're still operating on East Coast time, this game's going to end past midnight for them.
I mean, there's something to that. The body clock, just the fact that it is the second of the back-to-back, like it's going to wear on you. Unlike
me, they usually probably go to bed at normal times, so they're not used to staying up quite that late. But you're trying to find these slim edges because, as much as things are going against Florida, in the NHL, every little bit can make a difference because any team can win on any given night. And the Avs are going to have to take advantage of opportunities. And I think this is an important thing to get into for Colorado. When they're at their best, they don't have to put 45 shots on goal. They don't have to dominate every single second of the puck because they're finishing their chances. And the Avs, at times this year, it feels like have made life harder than they've had to have it because of their own inability to finish, or maybe they got goalied on a night, whatever it might be. This really is a Florida team that you should be able to capitalize on.
Yeah, I mean, I think you would like to see the over hit tonight and not for your own goaltending struggles. This is the type of team you should be able to score on when you factor in everything we've already just talked about and just the fact that they haven't had great goaltending play.
We do have a number of updates to get into as well, but Bailey talked a little bit about them at Morning Skate today, so let's hear Bailey's thoughts on things first.
What is going on, you guys? Bailey Curtis with DNVR here. We're back inside Ball Arena tonight, where your Colorado Avalanche will be facing off against the reigning 2-time Stanley Cup champions, the Florida Panthers. This is a little bit of an interesting matchup for me, guys. While standings and record-wise, they may not match up well, the Avs are going to top a lot of the teams that come through here. Florida Panthers are still a sneaky good team. With that said, I do want to touch on the record. The Avs, we've been harping on this the past few weeks. 2 regulation losses on the season. Florida Panthers have 12. Now, with that said, still 15 wins, so still in the positive column for them there. It's going to be a really gritty matchup against a team that's pacing the league in everything but the power play versus a Florida Panthers team that's hoping to keep their Stanley Cup dreams alive for this postseason. Little bit of news coming out of this morning, an optional skate for the guys today. Nathan McKinnon and Martin Netchis not on the ice today, but Bednar did mention that is just maintenance. They will be playing tonight. One roster move I do want to pay attention to, Gavin Brindley is returning to the lineup, you guys. We've been waiting for it. Past few games, maybe could have used a little bit of his energy, so we'll see that here tonight. The unfortunate part of that is Zakhar Bardakov will be coming out of the lineup. Mechanically, I think this last stretch of games for Bardakov has been his best of the season, but last 7 games, he does not have a point to his name. So maybe a little bit there. Jared Bednar's just looking to get some more out of his bottom guys. And while Bardakov has been doing that, again, mechanically really, really well, maybe looking for Brindley to draw back in for his return with a point. 7:45 p.m. puck drop here tonight, ESPN broadcast. But if you guys are looking for something maybe a little more community-based and fun, be sure to head over to the DNVR bar here tonight, or join the guys over on the watch along over on DNVR Sports on YouTube. We'd love to see you guys there. If you guys are here in town and looking to get a ticket, we'll see you guys here tonight against the Florida Panthers.
Bailey, Brindley, Bardakov. That's a lot of B's. Brindley is in. I do have thoughts on it being for Bardakov. I'm sure you do too, J-Mike. I do want to get to our thoughts, as well as the lineup does look like it's at least going to start the game a little bit differently. But before you hear from us, let's hear Bednar's thoughts on the changes and what Coach had to say going into a game where the Avs are trying to get back in the win column.
They finally backed you guys up a little bit.
I'll breathe it all on you.
Let's start us off, guys. Go ahead, Evan.
I think last week you said you were hoping to have more clarity on Logan, kind of where he's at. Is there any more information on kind of what he's dealing with right now?
There is, but I don't have anything to share just yet. We're hoping that we're getting some good information right now on how to get him back to playing, but I'm going to wait on that just till we're 100% sure, because we're just kind of getting some information yesterday and today.
Bailey?
No, Mac and not just on the ice today, any update?
No, just it was optional. I wasn't on either.
Jesse?
Coach, obviously, we don't have to talk about the goaltender interference from Long Island, specifically, but there was kind of a run the last few days of challenges that maybe coaches didn't agree with, and it feels like we're hearing from coaches more than in years past. Is that maybe just a sign of hey, there's a lot of confusion in what these calls are, and coaches are finally just saying something about it?
Yeah, I'm sure there's ebbs and flows to it, for every individual coach, for the coaches as a whole. I mean, all the onus is kind of put on us to be making the calls. So with that, I think we want as much clarity as we can get, and I think you'll go through stretches where we watch all of the coaches' challenges and we're yep, understand it, get it. And you remember ones in the recent past, you remember ones from a year or two ago, you remember all the ones that you have conversations with the league about and try to get clarity on so you can make the best decisions. Because going down a man for 2 minutes is not a great option for you, And some guys are more conservative than others, but I think you're just looking for clarity so you can at least make the right call or know the odds of the call being overturned when you make it, right? And I've gone through stretches where I feel like I'm close to 100% on him, and I've gone through stretches where I'm way below 50 on him. So when I get in that spot, and if other coaches are feeling that way, then you tend to articulate it a little bit. And so I feel like there is some confusion right now, and the league will do its best to keep sending out the videos and descriptions, and we'll keep calling and asking for clarity so we can make the best call for our teams.
Kobe, then Corey.
Coach, the 1996 team is being on tonight. How cool is it to have those guys just around the rink and be here for the game?
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I know they had their big function last night and got together and with the fans and then after as a group and sharing stories and memories, and they're all, a bunch of them are here this morning, hanging around and talking to our guys. But I think it's pretty special. It shows you where you're trying to get to as a team. You grinding with guys for 8-9 months at the least amount of time, and sometimes it takes years, and when you have success it's a bond that'll last a lifetime, and it's just a good reminder of that, and being able to see all the legends and of the game, and Avs legends here and mingling with our guys. I think it's pretty special.
Corey, then Pat.
Gavin Brindley gonna play tonight?
He is.
I remember any player comes back from injury, sometimes it takes a while to get, we talked about Ross last year, just him being a young guy and being sort of this first time through all this, is there anything different with him, trying to get him back and running after an injury like that?
Not at all. I actually think he's going to come back and be really good. You know, a young guy, he's going to bounce back quick. He's pretty disciplined in his approach to the game, and part of it is just him working and his relentlessness on the puck and the competitiveness that he brings. And I think that, you know, that is something that's not going to go away after just a couple weeks for him.
Pat and Eric.
I guess if you're around hockey enough, you see a little bit of everything, and sometimes things you don't see that often. And that Scott Wedgwood thing, was that kind of a bizarre situation? It seemed like when they told you, you're kind of smirking a little bit. Were you?
Well, because I knew it was coming. I saw him go over to the penalty box and have a conversation. So there was only there wasn't many things that they were going to come over and talk to us about at that point. I just think the timing of it's odd. I get the rule. I understand it. I certainly agree with it in play. Like when you see someone get hit and they look like it could be a head injury, that you want to address it and take them out of the game and be sure. And it's a precaution put in place for very good reason. It was a little delayed, which is, I think it's normal with that process of who needs to be called and the translation between a couple different parties to get down to the refs to pull them for us. I just don't like, we have to score on Landy's shot to even for it to continue. So maybe they could have just had their conversation quick, let Landy shoot, and then maybe nothing happens if it ended the same way. I also think, because our trainer went out, Matty went out, and he just kind of like tweaked his back a little bit, and if that's the information we have, then there's no need to take him out. I think Matty's very good at what he does, and he talks to Wedgie about the reason why he went down, why he was slow to get up, and if it's back, then there's no need to pull him out of the game. I think you have to trust the guys that we have hired to do that job, that he's okay. I also think even if it was his head, that facing a 3-second penalty shot or shootout isn't probably the end of the world either. I don't think he's going to have serious repercussions physically after that workload, So it just seemed a little strange. You don't see it. I understand it, and I agree with the protocols that they have in place, and it just kind of is what it is. You're probably risking more injury, though, if by putting Blackwood in cold and having him have to strain and stretch and flex on one penalty shot than you are with Wedge.
Eric.
Can you share who's coming out friendly?
Bartikov.
A couple last ones, Colleen, then Megan.
Just the Panthers coming in on a back-to-back, struggling with injuries, and you guys coming off this long road trip. What are you kind of looking and focusing on tonight against them? Yeah,
should be similar energy levels, I'm thinking. Them playing last night, us coming off this trip. It's a good team. They've been a great forechecking team. They make it hard at you at your own net. Like a lot of their goals, their identity is taking pucks hard to the cage and hanging around there and making it really difficult on your defenders, especially net front. They're always a really connected group of 5 on the ice, so we'll have to be the same. And we have some areas that we feel like we want to attack tonight, and they're going to continue to play to their identity, and got to be able to find some open ice tonight to get up and moving, and getting through their forecheck is not easy.
What's been your assessment of the power play through this last stretch, and what do you want to see to drive more consistent results?
It's been okay. Some power plays have looked really good, and some not so much. So to me, what I want to see drive more consistent results is more consistency in our execution, our decision making, mostly those two things. Like first power play the other night, Nashville, great. Last one gets us a big goal, 6-on-4. The middle couple weren't quite as good with the execution and the decision making for us with the puck. And that's kind of the way it was on the road trip. I think it's coming a little bit. We've got some new personnel coming onto it a little bit. We're starting to pop some of the guys off Unit 2 on to Unit 1 with Cale and Max staying. So we have a little bit of a change of plans and trying to make it a little bit more competitive within our group instead of just Unit 1 and nobody else. But yeah, I think it's about discipline with their puck moving. I think it's about execution at times, and the decision making is a little bit of a issue sometimes. Like we get into the zone, we make a play, we rush something or mis-execute, it comes out of the zone, and they stuff us once, and half the power play's gone, right? And I don't think we can afford to make those mistakes if we want to be a top power play in the league.
Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, thanks.
There you go. Bedsy answers that question like every time he's available because that's how bad the Avs power play is. Yeah, that is what it is. The more interesting thing I want to talk about is Brindley coming back into the lineup for Bardakov, as Bednar mentioned, but it's not just that. The Avs are switching up the lines at least to start tonight. Ross Colton drops down to the third line to play center between Olofsson and Brindley, and that drops Jury down to 4C back with Kelly and Kiviranta. This is probably a more comfortable long-term look for the Avs, realistically. Brindley back in the lineup is obviously great. I love that he's getting in the third line, not the fourth. Can this help the Avs actually produce a little bit more with that bottom six, though?
I mean, you like the chemistry that fourth line has when they've been together, so I think that's encouraging. We've seen them produce really to a surprising amount over the last year or so.
Yep.
And getting Brindley back out there, I think it gives you opportunity. I mean, I think Colton does a good job of creating, and I think Brindley is the kind of perfect effort guy, go crash, just find ways to make something, try and spark something, which he did such a good job of before he went out of the lineup. I think he's a big presence.
It feels to me a little bit putting both Colton and Brindley on a line with Olofsson, two play driver style players. This is let's get Victor Olofsson going a little bit here. Let's get him to put some pucks in the back of the net. I didn't even factor that in. That what it feels like to me. We also could see these lines disappear by the start of the second period. It's Jared Bednar and his blender. Expectations are kept to a minimum. When
he's an artiste.
Yeah, right. He's always meddling or fiddling with something. The other side of that, Landeskog and Chushkin together on that second line with Brock Nelson. That's a line of big boys.
Yeah, it's a lot of size.
Yeah. So against a Florida team without Tkachuk, they aren't quite the physical menace that they usually are. But I do think that's something you can look at as if the Avs want to not necessarily lay big hits, but use their size to grind teams a little bit more. I think it's a line that Bednar leans on.
Yeah, I mean, that's the benefit of that group, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the potential for offensive production, but I just think going from the pace you get with that top group, I kind of like the clash in styles that you have there, if that makes sense.
Well, and the whole thing, in practice, we'll have to see what actually happens, but you have a top line that is pretty heavily offensive leaning. Lehkonen does most of the defensive work there. You have a second line, especially with the way Brock Nelson has played, that is extremely effective defensively, and you can almost use them as a shutdown line. With this look of the third line, which you feel should have a significantly more offensive tilt, Colton can hold his own defensively. Olofsson has been fine defensively this year, and Brindley works really hard, a bit of a wild card.
The effort is there. Yeah, the results aren't necessarily, but
it just hasn't been in the NHL long enough to really have everything down. So your more offensive lines become your first and your third, and of course you have arguably the best defensive fourth line in the league when you drop Drury down to that thing with Parker Kelly, and whether it's Kivy or in the future LOC that ends up on the other wing.
I love that you just throw them out, a couple minutes a night and just be nuisance.
Yep. You're not worried about anything. You know they're going to pester the other team. It's
any
just
production you get is just bonus, Jonas.
Exactly.
But they do serve an important role for this group.
They do. You need them to show up and play well. And I think the Avs should have a little bit of extra burn today, given the loss the other day to Nashville. That, yes, they got a point out of it, but I don't think they're particularly happy with the way that game ran. So you expect them to show up big. The other side of that is we can take a look at both teams here. We have the stat cards. Shout out to the homie Jay Fresh. Yeah, Avs really good at literally everything but the power play. It's the only thing they're bad at. So everywhere else, you would expect the Avs to outperform just about everyone in the NHL. And then you flip over to Florida's card, and I think Florida's card is actually a bit more interesting. They're a pretty solid offensive team, even with the guys they're missing, but defensively and goaltending has just been rough for them. They are struggling in a way that We haven't seen them struggle before. Some of that is absolutely they're missing Barkov, but their defensive end has been rough this year. And you can see their special teams aren't all that great either.
Do you think that's a product of the injury situation they're in? I mean, they are an older team too. Like at some point they're kind of just bully the shit out of everybody. That kind of style is maybe not super sustainable over multiple years.
Yeah, I think it's more, I think the injuries are a symptom of that as well. If this is a team that has played close to 200 hockey games, probably over 200 hockey. I mean, including this season. Oh my God, Philly. What was that? 220 hockey games probably over the last 2 seasons, plus the 30 or whatever they've played this year. Hey, look, Vegas won. Yeah, there's a horrible turnover from Philly. Sorry, I'm trying to watch this other game while we're doing our pregame. Yeah, that's a team that is just run down. Like, it's impossible to not be.
You run out of gas eventually.
Yeah,
all great teams do it.
And that doesn't even include they went to the Cup final the year before their wins and they lost.
I mean, the tread on the tires is substantial.
The human beings just only have so much gas in the tank at a certain point. So I do think there is a little bit of that going on with Florida for sure. Doesn't mean they're a bad team, though. They will actually absolutely still punish you if you give them the opportunity to do so.
And it's just, I mean, as we talk about it before every game, but the Avs are one of those teams that everybody's going to circle. It's a national game.
Yep. Yeah, true. On ESPN as well. You don't want to be the team that the Avs get to hang their hat on and say, hey, we got the 50 points on the season against these guys. We're the first ones in the NHL to get the 50.
They lost 1 game in regulation, and it was us, you know, in Ball Arena.
Right, exactly. We get to be that team. The Avs want to beat you, though. So I'm pretty confident in the Avs' ability. J. Mike, let's look into the future here. Bust out our crystal ball predictions. Give me a name, give me a score. What's going to happen in this game?
I like a big time response from the Avs. I think this game's going to be high scoring.
I agree with that.
I would like to lean into, you know, Blackwood's going to be remarkable, but I'm going to say gives up a little bit. I don't think it's going to be a rough night or anything. I'm going to say Avs win 5-2. Give me a Gabe Landeskog goal.
Ooh, I like the Gabe Landy pick. Is it a real goal or is it a fake goal that gets taken away again?
It's a real goal in my heart and soul. Okay, you can take it away, but it's real to me, damn it.
Yeah, Landy's been good. You love a lot of these new look lines. I'm going to go... I think Florida's last game was like an 8-7 or 6-7 nonsense one against Columbus. Actually, that's not true. I don't know what happened last night. I didn't see that game. But Florida has a penchant to get into these crazy ones. So maybe it's going to be like a 6-4, 6-3, something like that. I'm going to go a little wild. I'm taking Victor Olofsson though.
They won 4-3 at Utah. They won 4-1 against the Islanders before that. But before that
was the Columbus game.
Columbus.
Okay. All right. So yeah, maybe less nonsense than I think. But I'll stick with 6-4, and I'll go with Victor Olofsson. I want you guys to know I picked that before I knew the lineup conversation. I'm going with Olofsson's time to put a puck in the back of the net tonight, regardless. We also have my pregame picks, which we can jump in, presented by Bet365, where things are never ordinary. The Olofsson goal is on there. He's plus 450, but you have the Avs covering at plus 110. The Avs are so good, it's hard to get plus money on them covering, so you take it when you can get it. And then I want to see the power play score again, I guess, or score a real 5-on-4 power play goal. Plus 145 for Makar to get another point on that front. So the Avs do all of those things. Well, of course, if they cover, they'll win. But if the Avs get production from their depth, if their power play looks good, I think really it should be a pretty easy win for them. So the Avs will probably make it hard. They'll still find a way, though. I have confidence.
Yeah, I was joking with a patron down at the bar before we went live, and he kind of asked me, what are your thoughts on this team? And I was like, well, to be honest, it's not that complicated of a process right now. I think they're going to win. I go into every game thinking they're going to win because that's what keeps happening.
Make sure you take advantage of that with their wins on Bet365. When you do gamble with them, you must be 21 or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER today. J. Mike, any final thoughts before we wrap this pregame up and get into this national start?
Take care of business on home ice. This isn't the type of matchup you want to see them play with their food.
Yep.
Get in, get out, do what you should do.
Dallas and Mini are tied up 2-2. You got to operate like Dallas is going to win that game. So you got to go win tonight if you're the Avs. We're going to wrap it up there. This has been the DNVR Avalanche pregame show. Come join us for the watch along. You'll see Micah join us for that. It's always a fun time. And of course, join us postgame where J. Micah will break it all down with me no matter what happens. We appreciate you, and we will see you in a few minutes.
We all silly like the mayor.